Today we're talking about this, my 2016 Jeep Wrangler Sport. Now we're going to go over all the modifications we've done to this Jeep today and show you exactly what it's like to drive a lifted Jeep Wrangler JK. First off, we've got an aftermarket bumper on the front of this Jeep. The stock Sport bumper was this plastic unit, really kind of a low quality unit. I wasn't impressed with it at all. It wasn't winch ready. But I changed that immediately with this Bestop Hard Rock high axis designed bumper. So this isn't a stubby bumper, it doesn't end here, which means in theory I have less wheel access for climbing up rocks, but it is a high axis design, so I do have this cutout here. And I like how if I do get into a fender bender, it offers a little bit more protection to the wheel area when compared to the stubby bumper. Now on top of that, I've got this is the Warn Xeon 10S Platinum winch. This is kind of the Ferrari of winches. Fully synthetic line. I do have a wireless winch controller, and my favorite feature is this, the ability to plug lights and accessories straight into the back of the winch and control it via the winch remote, which means I don't have to drill holes in my dash to mount switches and the like. So what's it like to drive a Wrangler JK that's been lifted 3 inches and fitted with 35-inch mud terrain tires? Come find out right now. Pentastar power. All right, here we go. So the driving experience really hasn't changed all that much with the modifications. Braking has gotten a little bit worse with these big tires and the lift. It's not too dramatic of a difference. The stock brakes do a pretty good job of stopping these two-door JKs lifted. If I had a trailer, if I had, you know, an unlimited with 37s, and then you start looking at a Hemi conversion, then yeah, you're really gonna need to look at the brakes. Plugged into the winch right now and sitting on top of this bull bar accessory on the bumper are these Rugged Ridge off-road lights. They've proven to be really pretty high quality actually. It's been almost 2 winters with these now, and you can see there's been no leaks. Really a durable unit. A little bit of fading you can see where they've turned a little bit gray, but I'm pretty impressed with them thus far. They put out a lot of light, especially when compared to the stock JK halogens that this Jeep has equipped. Coming around to the back, we also have a Bestop bumper, which is a really beefy unit when compared to the factory rear bumper. And there's a receiver built into the bumper, which I've used on at least one occasion to get me out of a really sticky situation. So that's awesome. Now, one thing that's not so awesome is these plates that hang down off of the bumper. This is for the rock roller. It's a bar that extends between these two mounting points, and the idea is it's a departure roller, so when you're coming off of a rock, it'll just gently slide you off the rock. In reality, it's a pretty harsh transition, and it really does reduce departure angle. So there are guys that'll go through and just snip these off. I have left them, just taken the roller off, and with the lift, the departure angle is so good now that I wouldn't really need it, but they're there. So if you want to put a 35-inch spare on your JK, well, it's not going to work straight out of the factory. The factory hinges will either warp the tub or bend the tailgate, so that's where this comes in. This is the Rugged Ridge HD tire carrier, and I've got a quick install video, which we'll show right now. Our friends at Rugged Ridge sent us the Spartacus HD tire carrier, which is one of the easiest ways to make your Wrangler JK be able to support an oversized spare tire. Start by removing the factory third brake light and the rather wimpy plastic spare wheel carrier. Okay, last bolt in this crummy plastic mount is coming off. And there it is, free at last. After cleaning and supporting the tailgate, you're ready to remove your factory hinges. Okay, last bolt off. The installation of the tire carrier is made easier with a little bit of help. Next, it's just a matter of tightening up many bolts. Finally, the adjustable wheel mount is ready to go on. The Spartacus HD kit tire carrier does come with this extension if you want to reuse your third mounted brake light. It even comes with the wiring extensions you need to lengthen those wires so your third brake light can stick up above your spare tire. However, there is another option. This is the Rugged Ridge third brake light accessory LED light ring, and it simply attaches right behind the spare tire here, and it even uses the factory JK wiring connector, so I can just string this through and hook it right up. Come on, buddy. Look at the action on that baby. Well, most importantly now when I'm off wheeling, I've got a big old spare, my 35-inch Firestone Destination MT2 tire, my rugged ridge wheel, and of course the Spartacus HD tire carrier. Now let's see what that LED ring looks like. Well, I'm really curious to see what you guys think of that LED ring. Possibly the biggest change between this Jeep and when it was stock is the lift kit. This is the Alpine CT3 lift kit by TerraFlex. I have the Falcon Series 3 shocks, and I was really unsure about lifting this Jeep. I had a lifted YJ before this JK, and it rode kind of like a cabbage cart, but it turned out to be an awesome addition and really honestly hasn't changed the ride quality that much at all. These two-door JKs, they don't ride like Bentleys to begin with, and it certainly doesn't ride like a Bentley now, but the difference between lifted and non-lifted isn't that great. These shocks are adjustable. These are the latest and greatest Falcon shocks. 3 position, so 1 is the comfort, the softest, the rock crawling mode. Flick it over to 3, that's the sport mode. And then in 2, I've got full 8 position adjustability of how firm I want the shocks to be. When I'm driving around, really I've used pretty much exclusively 1. It provides a good balance between comfort, but it's not wallowy, so that's where I leave them. Now here's one area where a lifted Jeep is maybe not right for you if you plan on daily driving it. It's of course a little bit harder to get into a lifted Jeep because it's lifted. This lift over height is probably 5.5 inches higher now with both the lift kit and the big tires. I do have these, they're like $6 foam Amazon handles, which do help if you're shorter. But you know, I'm about 6 foot tall, and it's not too bad getting in both of the front seats. Now, my shorter friends really do struggle getting into the rear seats on the 2-door JK. It's definitely a little bit more of a challenge now. And then the real trick is getting out. This could be solved with a set of running boards, but I take this Jeep off-road a lot. I hate running boards, they just reduce clearance. So they're just gonna have to live with it. All right, here is a quick acceleration demonstration at a mile above sea level with the 6-speed manual, a Pentastar, and 35-inch tires in a JK. Floored. So, you know, pretty respectable 0 to 60. These Pentastars get a lot of, maybe we can call it hate outside of the Jeep community for being a minivan engine, or even within the Jeep community, but they still make 285 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. Those are the claimed numbers. So pretty respectable power numbers in a light vehicle. Now in terms of wheels and tires, the wheels have turned out awesome. I was kind of on the fence about these. These are the Rugged Ridge Jesse Spade Edition wheels, and in this kind of billet metallic color, they match the granite crystal metallic Jeep perfectly, wouldn't you say? I mean, look at that match, it's awesome. And these tires are the Destination Firestone MT2s. I've only had a couple thousand miles on the lift kit and the tires and wheels, and they're holding up pretty well. I'm getting a little bit of chunking on the rear tires. I've done quite a bit of highway driving, more than I expected after installing these tires, but so far so good. Used them in the snow, they hook up pretty well. Used them off-road. They really work well in rocky terrain, super durable tire, and in mud, they are mud terrain. They're about as good as can be expected from a beefy 35-inch off-road tire. In terms of fuel economy, grab the key here, let's see what we're getting. It's dropped, unsurprisingly, 16 is my average on this tank. On the highway, I may get closer to 16 and a half, 16.7. Unlifted, this Jeep was getting 17, maybe 18 on the highway, so it has decreased a little bit. I'm not too worried about it because I don't drive all that much on the highway, and for the short bursts I'm doing, 16 is all right, but when gas gets expensive, that is gonna hurt a little bit. Another thing this TerraFlex lift kit gives you are these speed bump stops. And of course, we've got the little peg here for the disconnectable front sway bar. So let's talk real quick about gearing. Now, your bog standard off the showroom floor Sport will usually come with 321 gears. And that's a great setup for fuel economy, but in terms of crawl ratio and performance, it's not what you want. Now, your Rubicon will have 410 gears, which is great off-road, great for acceleration, but for fuel economy, you're gonna suffer. Now, when you lift your Jeep, you're gonna want to change the gear ratio, typically to something like a 410, a 456, or even something above a 5. That's gonna give you the performance you still want out of a JK and that crawl ratio you need when you're going off-road. Now, this Jeep doesn't have 321s. This is optioned with 373s, and with these 35-inch tires, it works all right. Off-road, first gear, low range isn't quite as slow as I'd like it to be in some rock crawling situations. But for everyday driving with the 6-speed manual transmission, you're not burning up your clutch too much, and it gives you a good balance of fuel economy and performance. I haven't done the speedometer correction with these tires, so it does run a few miles an hour slow depending on the speed. It's just something you do have to be aware of. It is a fairly easy correction if you want. They do sell devices that you plug into your OBD2 computer to recalibrate the speedometer for the tire size. So it's easier than it used to be when you had to mess with speedo, cable, cogs, and stuff like that. Another area where the Sport isn't exactly the Jeep you want when it comes to lifting and modifying is the front axle. So on the Rubicon JK, you get a Dana 44 rear and then that Dana 44 front as well. If you get a Sport S, a Sahara, anything like that, you're still gonna have that Dana 44 in the rear, but up front, you're gonna get a Dana 35, which is a weaker axle. Now, for the kind of off-roading I'm doing, I'm not putting too much stress on that front axle, but if you're planning on doing a lot of rock bashing, really areas where you're putting a lot of strain on axle shafts and axle tubes and stuff like that, you are going to want to go for either Rubicon or upgrade your front axle on a Sport or Sahara to a 44 or a 60 or something more aggressive. Coming around to the back, you'll notice the top isn't factory either. This is the best top Trek Top NX Black Twill. So this is the higher quality of the Trek Top NX soft tops that Best Top makes, and the NX means it's a fastback. I love that sloping design. It's even more dramatic if you have an unlimited Jeep. But on the two-door, it really improves the look over the standard soft top or hard top. And in the winter, it provides pretty good insulation as well. I took the hard top off within the first couple of months of owning the Jeep, and I haven't put it back on since. This soft top has been working super well. And you know, it's pretty easy to use. Zippers on the back if you want to pull out the rear window or fold it back to fit in larger items. And then I do have that easy Sunrider ability here, which is just flick these down, 1, 2 latches, and then it folds back. Now these side rear 3/4 windows are removable, and it's an easy process to remove them. If it's cold, it can be a little bit tricky to stretch and install them back. So I remove these in the summer, and then in the winter, if I want a convertible-like feeling, I just do the Sunrider, because they're a little bit tricky to put back in the winter when it's cold. So am I pleased with how this Jeep Wrangler runs, drives, and looks with this lift and all the modifications? Hell yeah, I'm pleased. This is one awesome Jeep. I love the way it performs off-road, and I can live with the way it performs on-road. As always, this is Tommy with the Fastlane Car. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know what you think of this Jeep, what mods you have done to your Jeep. I really do read all your comments and suggestions, and look forward to seeing you soon. See you guys next time.